So just got finished with that. I'll do a little bit more here. I took my stencil, I cut the larger areas out because I want to go a little bit harder in some of these areas before I cut and erase more. This video's more general about skulls. There's a lot of videos on painting skulls and details and shading. Mix that in with it. I have a few videos on my pack of skulls. Same premises: core shadows, highlights, learn skull anatomy, learn details, play with textures, things like that, and you'll get to a really cool result. Adding a little textures like this. Understand the anatomy of the skull and just go to town and have fun with it. I'm just going to let into this and just go. So if you're having trouble, refer to your skull reference. So what I'm doing here, see these lines? I'm putting these lines where this texture, this thing is. I'm putting that refer back. And just play around with it. For me, this is the fun part about custom paint. I've got all the structure done. I've got the map out done. Now I can just get loose and creative and kind of make my own thing happen. I don't have to follow the lines exactly, make my own changes. It's custom. It's not supposed to be the same every time. If I want it the same every time, I just take a picture and print it. But you can see, same premise of this one. There'll be two unique paintings when they're done, but the technique is the same. It's an arsenal of tricks and tools you learn to create objects, and then you can mix and match different things. So the same process, two different paintings. And I can do this again tomorrow, change a few things up, and it's another different painting. So by mixing loose and hard templates and plotting and freehand, you can change it up all the time and just stay creative. Since we got a dent in the panel, let's make that a big hole in the skull. So it happened on purpose. See, difference between amateur and professional. Knows how to fix his mistakes. I meant to do that. So before I get too far in, let's go back to the reducer and just kind of work out some more stuff. You gotta really keep the airbrush more straight to this. If you go like this, it'll actually push, so you want to be straight on. So it's a little harder for me because I'm a little off camera doing this, so just doing a little bit. Or use a stick eraser, typewriter eraser, ink eraser. Electric erasers work great for this as well. Find the technique that you like best. There is not one absolute right answer, right way to do it. I've met so many artists over the years. Everyone's got their own technique and trick that works for them. Mix and match, adapt what works for you. And we can use white on this. Maybe I'll put a little white towards the end, but I don't want to do it this second. All right, so I'm pretty happy with the skull the way it's sitting right now. I can still go back in and add more details, but the key is I have all my structure around all my elements. I'll probably put a little bit more around here. We're gonna come off, we're gonna do this drill. This is a drill that's coming into the head. So we're gonna hit it really hard around here. We'll make it all cracked up. Actually, I'll pull out one of my Pocket Grafx things here. This is Shatter. Shatter's got like a broken edge type of look. So we can put like cracks and breaks in it. Pretty easy. We can move it just to add a little something. Some hard edges in there. That's good enough for now. I can add more as I go. So the drill is actually really easy. There's only 2 pieces to it. I'll pull them each out. I'll pull each of them out. You pull these middles, like where the loop is, and you leave the straights. And there's one up here. Okay. So this is also a cylinder like all this. I'm going to first step here and make sure I drop shadow each one. This one comes together really quick. If you blink, you'll miss it. Make sure you get overspray on everything. And now the core shadows are going to kind of bend with the shape of the metal. Yeah, pretty simple. Hit it harder on the underside. And now you pull the straights out. And it'll really start to look like a drill. And then shadow right down. I want to make sure I really darken this bottom edge like it's going in. And now we can use the eraser if we want to make little highlights on the edge. This is just an old school typewriter eraser. And this is a drill, so it can be kind of beat up. Doesn't have to be all smooth. Just enough to add a little interest. Really cool effect, really quick. Same as the shading of the tubes, just with a little added accent and makes it a cool drill bit. Now I'm going to move from here down to the mask, get this, and then we'll go to the outside. All right, so on this mask, there's a bunch of steps in it. I'm pulling each one out. And this one here, and then there's more down the line. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shade it. Actually, before I do that, I'm going to pull these ovals out as well. Because if we look at our reference image over here, this is the piece we're doing right here. And we got these little like drill holes going through. There's a flat plane, and then it goes into the inset here. And I've changed this up. I've changed the design up so you'll see the difference. But that's basically it. Okay. So we're going to hit the holes. We're going to go up from the bottom like this. So it creates, so it looks like a hole going inwards. We're going to shadow in the bottom, come up. If your freehand control is a little tough and I'm kind of slipping here, it doesn't matter. You could do these first and then pull this. They'll stay a little cleaner. Okay, so now I'm going to mist this whole area. And this piece is kind of curved in, so it'll be more shadowed towards the back. And the shadows will kind of run vertical here. And it's turning into this section. It's kind of a radius, so hit the edge hard. and then right down. Now I'm going to drop shadow into here because this is casting a shadow down. Remember, top-down light source. And then I'm going to hit this edge, and then there's a whole bunch of these. We're just going to go right down the line. So notice I've never put any masking back. Everything is remove and spray, remove and spray. It's going to come up from that. This will almost look like the trachea, but it's more mechanical. And then we go to the next one. And in the file, they get a little smaller as they go down. It creates a cool stepping effect. Now, if you forgot, you can do this over a white panel as well, works great, or gray, but this is over a silver metallic. And so that's why we're using candy, because candy's going to let all that metallic sparkle come through. So when we clear this, all that flaking is going to show through all this artwork, because the candy will let it come through, whereas a opaque or regular color will kind of cancel it and mute it out. This won't. If you went from the bottom up in shadow, then it would look like louvers going this way as opposed to holes going in, whichever approach you want to take. This does get a little repetitive. And every time I keep running up and down it and just keep building that same tone. There, run up the edge, and then you can just pull these guys right now. See how that stays nice and bright? It's almost like a pinstriped edge. I'm just going to hit it. Now I just saw something I did wrong. I didn't pull these masks out of here, so now I'm going to have to fix that manually. What I'm probably going to do here, I'll cut a piece of paper. I'll use this printout, I'll cut it and fix that without having to replot it and try to reapply it. So I'll show you that in a little bit. But yeah, it's a mistake, easily fixed. I'll just finish this up. There's a couple holes here. We'll do these guys, and then we'll move on to the next step. Okay, how to fix your mess ups. So what I did is I printed the same image out from before. I cut out the little inserts and I cut out, the shape. So I'm going to line this up. This is how you fix your mistakes, boys and girls. Kind of painless, actually. And it's almost there. I'm going to rip this right out. And I'm just going to cut it in. It's pretty dark here because it's casting a shadow. And we'll balance out both sides. We can do some erasing if we need to, but all in all, that pretty much took care of it. So I'm going to work my way around this panel here. So I'm going to pull the mask up here. And if you're doing this, just pause it, rewind it, follow the steps. Remember, just working my way out of this whole piece. It's also a great piece to practice your freehand control because you're using so much masking, you kind of have that safety net. So you can start on your stencil, like look, I'll put the paint here, and I'll work off it if I'm having trouble starting and stopping on the piece. That's what's great about using masking and stencils and things like that. Just little vent holes. When we get to the outer border, I'll show you how to do some rivets, really simple. And that'll be the last piece we do. And now you can work left to right, both sides. Follow around your mask. I've mentioned in other videos before, if you start getting spray, skipping, or delay, a lot of times it could be tip dry. It doesn't happen much with candies. A lot of times it could be the vent hole up here. Poke that vent hole to allow air back in the color cup, so that allows the paint to flow. That's a big issue that happens, and you lose the flow of paint, and it takes everyone forever to figure out why. That's usually why. Okay, I'm going to work my way from the outside in, these lower sections. And these are kind of cylindrical shading, so just really simple core shadow on the bottom, a lighter one on top. Shade the edge, and repeat on the other two. I don't know what this thing is, I just made it up. So we'll just give it a story. It's kind of a cool gas mask type of thing. And this is all drop shadowing down there. And we can go back in with the reducer and put some highlights. And I'm not using any white. If this was on a white panel, you'd see it dramatically really happen fast. Cool. And now we got the circle. We're going to work from the outside and work our way. Actually, we're going to go outside from each edge. So I'm going to do this one here. I'm going to pull this, because each is on a lower plane. So we'll shadow. Shadow out here and kind of go with the cogs. Create that three-dimensional drop shadow. If this piece you practice quite a bit, you'll be able to do a piece like this, around an hour or so, because obviously you won't be talking, starting and stopping. So I'm going to work in, I'm going to do the next level. Hit that. See how fast and cool that looks? Just shadowing as I go. You can spend as much time as you want adding little interesting, textures and different layers and things like that, as much as you want. Or just keep it simple. Shadow the whole thing. I'm going to put more shadow towards the bottom side. We'll do some erasing highlights. And fundamentally, that's the whole middle project. We're just going to do a quick border around the edge with some rivets and some extra planes, and we're going to call it done. On to the next step. All right, we got this all done in here, pretty happy with it. You can still continue working here. You can add little textures. I added little textures to the to this tube using my Pocket Grafx Pyro. And I just went in and I just sprayed and moved, sprayed and moved. and just kind of gave the tube so it looks like it's kind of sectional. You can do as much or as little of this as you want, or none at all. Simple things like that. I make sure I drop shadow around really heavy because we're going to pull this outer perimeter. I get one shot at this. Make sure I'm down here. I'm going to blend out the shadow so it kind of looks really deep. See how this, when we started, wasn't a lot of paint there, but as we've gone through, we've layered it, it's almost pure black. Do that, and now we're going to remove this blue mask. I haven't mentioned this blue mask. This is the FPS blue mask. Reason I use this, it's really stretchy, it's really soft. It leaves no glue behind, no residue with water-based paints, or any other paint for that matter. Cuts like butter, and because it's so thin, it leaves pretty much zero paint edge, no matter how much. I would probably put 4 or 6 passes here. We'll be able to clear this with 2 coats, 3 coats of clear, and it's gone. That's why I use this mask. I'm gonna put that there. See, now it's all nice and framed in. I'm gonna give it one little extra edge. Just to give it one more step down. So this is 3/4 inch tape. Let's make it straight. And even. So it's almost like an 1/8 inch gap around the edge. And bottom. Really simple. Just layers, layers and layers. Heavy drop shadow there. So making this look like you're almost looking through a window panel. And this will be just a steel like frame, and we'll put a couple of rivets on it. Whoa, almost lost it again. Cool, do that, do that. You know what I'm gonna do? I wanna make it so it looks like this panel's over that. I'll just use a loose edge. Create as I go. See, now it looks like this piece of metal is overlapping that one. Same thing. And we'll continue that all the way down the bottom. You could use a piece of tape too. Then we're gonna get my Pocket Grafx rivet master, and we'll talk about how to do some rivets on these corners and a couple up the sides, and we'll wrap this thing up. Okay, we're here for the final step. This is all done. Now we're gonna do the rivets. The easiest way to do the rivets, this is actually one of the reasons I came up with the Pocket Grafx originally, was the rivet master. It's the first one I did. And it's positive, negative circles. We got some different edges for doing sheet metal, and then it's got 1/8 inch, 3/16, quarter, 3/8, half circles, positive, negative. So we're gonna use this. We're going to be using both the 3/8 and the half, but we're going to tape up the half for now because you'll see what happens, why we use both. Just tape up all the little pieces that you don't want overspray getting into. And we're going to tape that up right there. Good to go. The good thing about putting the tape on it is it actually holds the stencil in spot. So coming right here, we got it in position. Now we're going to do a cylindrical shading, and you know on a ball's rounded, so just like we've been talking about, oops, the core shadow runs right down the bottom. Just kind of radius around. I'm going to shade the whole thing. Okay, now I'm going to pull the stencil away. I'm going to go here. I'm going to shadow it this way. Now it looks indented. I'm going to do one better. So we're going to pull the half. I'm going to go in like this. And we're going to hit it around the edge. And now it's going to look like it's pushed into the metal. We can do some streaking, something like that. I'm going to do this one more time so you can get that. And come over this edge. I'm going to put the tape back on. And just watch this happen again. Try to keep it the same line. Shadow it, kind of kiss the whole thing. And go in again. I can soft shade it. I'm just doing one color. White on silver doesn't work too well. Now I'm going to come around the edge. Just hit it. I want to kiss one more dark. And see, now that rivet looks like it's pushed in. We'll put some streaking. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to go around, put a few more around the board, and finish this off. So realistically, that's about it at this point. Like I said, I'm going to go through some more to get this done and wrap up this project. And there you have it. Project is done, completed. You can see how much depth and color tone we can get out of just one color, layering it, slowly working from bottom to top, building tone and value along the way. Really fun project, easy to do, teaches you a lot. 2 different pieces here, same technique, same process. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and make sure you subscribe and notifications for many more. Thanks again. Have a good one.
Hey guys, welcome back to the booth. Unfortunately, Scott had to go back home to Massachusetts, so he left me here to kind of finish up this project, and I just put 2 coats of our PPG EC550. That's our 2K urethane clear coat that we recommend for our product, especially for an automotive type of a surface. So that's what we have going on here, and I think that really does highlight what Scott was able to do with the Candy 2.0, the Candy Black, over our silver sealer panel with a little bit of Hot Rod Sparkle White just for that added effect. I think that really demonstrates beautifully what that looks like. So on behalf of Scott MacKay and Thin Air Graphics, I'm Chris Arpin with Createx Colors, and we'll see you guys next time.